In this video, I'm going to walk you through what you need to do when it feels like he's pulling away so that you can just remain grounded and cool and calm and collected, even though you might be freaking out and feeling like he's abandoning you and the relationship's gonna end and feeling very sad. It's okay to feel that way, and there's probably a lot of valid reasons why you would feel that way, but we're going to take a look at when is it time to react and when is it time to do something called self-soothing. So self-soothing is kind of exactly what it sounds like. It's when you take care of your own emotional needs before needing the other person in the relationship to have a conversation or explain something to you. And when we have anxious attachment, which you may or may not feel like you have, or anxious attachment tendencies, we tend to want to resolve with the other person. So when we feel like something is a little off, maybe their tone changed, maybe they canceled the plan, maybe they communicated something about being unavailable, we tend to go in this mode of, I want to fix this. Or maybe they're genuinely communicating that they are struggling with something or they just need personal time. We tend to want to fix and work through it and be available, and I can have this conversation right now. And oftentimes that's not really the most helpful thing for the other person, even though it feels like it's coming from a really loving place in your heart. So this is where we get to discern, when is it your job to self-soothe and give them space, and when is it your job to intervene and have a conversation? In any case, what you're not going to do, no matter how much your brain and your heart wants to, is overtext them and ask them, are we okay? Can we talk tomorrow? Like anything that is still really urgent when you are still feeling reactive from the initial trigger. So whatever that trigger was, again, let's say they didn't text you for a while, they canceled the plan, that's going to be activating to your nervous system. And if you just react from that place, it's probably not going to get you the outcome that you want. Trust me, I've done it before. I've gone very full crazy girl. I have called someone 17 times in one night. I have banged on someone's apartment door and the walls of their apartment to the point of the neighbors coming outside when they were being shitty for sure. They were completely ghosting me after making plans. And, we're looking back at my 19-year-old self here. But I'm saying that because I understand how out of control it can feel and how intensely you want to get to that person, to see them, to feel them, and to feel okay. And if you're relating to what I'm saying right now and really feeling that intensity, then there's a good chance that what you're reacting to has very little to do with this person and probably more to do with something that happened in childhood. So when we're a child, we are developing what's called our attachment system. This is part of our survival response. It's part of our nervous system. So you're either going to develop a secure attachment, an anxious attachment, or an avoidant attachment. And in some of my more comprehensive workshops, I explain how this is a bit of a spectrum and we can kind of shift based on who we're relating to. But in any case, if you're here watching this video, I'm going to guess you might lean a little more anxious, if not feel like you have extreme anxious attachment. And that's okay because it can be worked with and it can be changed. But if that's the case, then as I said, you are reacting from something that your child self has learned that your adult self has not unlearned. And that's where we end up in these situations where you think, I am being irrational. I logically know that nothing bad is happening, or I logically know that I will be okay even if this relationship ends, but I feel so sad. I feel panic. I feel fear. I feel this intense, like, I need to fix this or I need to get to this person. And that is your subconscious, this childhood pattern, let's say, that you learned, and your adult mind in a conflict with each other. And so what I do through my somatic work and through my membership, which is called Becoming Her, for the women who just really want to move into that fully secure identity and sort of catch up the subconscious with your capable, beautiful, mature woman, adult mind, we work on this like subconscious level, basically, to bring those into harmony. I digress. When you were a child, you probably experienced some sort of state of confusion with one of your parents, and that could be that sometimes they were there and sometimes they weren't. You didn't really understand where they were, or sometimes you got your needs met and sometimes you didn't. And as an adult, you might not even remember this clearly, but for the woman who has anxious attachment, the child has a story that distance means something is wrong. Pulling away means something is wrong. And because children don't understand that the world doesn't revolve around them, we also have a story that it must be to do about me. So now, today, this reaction might have much less to do with that guy and much more to do with your childhood psyche trying to close a loop. So when we have an unmet need from childhood, we tend to seek it out in our romantic partners. That's why the anxious and avoidant people tend to magnetize towards each other, because they're trying to complete some loop that basically didn't get completed. But on a deeper level, we also have a belief that it won't happen, that we won't get that need met. So I won't experience the closeness that I want, is what the subconscious believes. The conscious mind is saying, I want to feel closeness, I want to feel closeness. But because our subconscious is doing way more of the like attraction level, unless we become awake and aware of it, we will tend to attract people that keep sort of missing our needs. So the point here is that even if you feel really activated because this person did cancel on you, we have to consider what is the bigger picture here. And you can think about this by asking yourself questions like, does this feel familiar? Have I felt this in other relationships before? Where do I feel this in my body? And really trying to isolate the sensation itself, being able to name what is the emotion here that's separate from this situation, but just this familiar thing, and how long have I been feeling this? And you might be surprised to realize that you've been feeling this since you were 8 or 5 or 3 years old, or maybe even younger. You can't even remember how long you've been feeling it, but you feel that same pit in your stomach or that same panic when someone pulls away. So there's a real tool of discernment that we have to build when we have a pattern of attracting avoidant people. And that tool is basically this question: is it him or is it me? And is it him actually being avoidant and me knowing that's not good for my system? Or is it me assuming that everyone is avoidant and everything is about me? And I say that really loosely, right? So in this example, I don't know what you're experiencing today. I don't know the exact behavior that that person did, but we have to ask the question, what if it wasn't about me? So let's just say that they haven't been texting back for a day. That's why you're on this video. What else could it be about? Just for fun's sake, because right now you're making the story that he didn't text back for one day mean this relationship is over, he doesn't care about me, he doesn't like me, he's with another girl, whatever is spiraling through your mind. Those are 4 out of infinite possibilities. Infinite possibilities. Could be that he lost his phone. Could be that he got really busy with work. Could be that he got sick. Could be that someone else got sick. Could be that his neighbor's dog got run over. Could be that his neighbor is old and needed help. Or can you see how there's the stories we make and then the possibilities? So this is all to just allow you to question the story, because if your story is, he doesn't like me and this relationship is ending, how does that make you feel? Makes you feel panic, fear, sad? What if the story was, there's a chance this isn't about me, so I'm just going to trust that he's doing his thing and he's going to come back around to me when he's available. Okay, I know it's hard, and this is why it's such a nuanced situation. There is opportunity where you do communicate to your partner, hey, I want to be in contact every day, even if it's just a text, or not answering me for 12 hours isn't acceptable. We've been together for a year and that just kind of freaks me out. You know, it's okay to have needs and desires around this. And it's really powerful to question the story. So even now, let's give the example that you're in a 3-year relationship, you live together. This came from a client that I talked to a few months ago. She said, I noticed that even when in the evening he goes into our home office to work, I feel that panic. I know he's not abandoning me. I know that he's not gonna leave me. I know he's not even mad at me, but I still feel that. So this is a really good example of where her role in that is self-soothing, because it would be easy and tempting to say something a little passive aggressive, make him feel a little guilty. Oh, you're leaving me again at night? You don't want to hang out with me? Or get mad. Why do you have to work at night? This is ridiculous. Or go in there and distract him. And all of these are kind of our sneaky little ways of not self-soothing. There are sneaky little ways of getting our partner to meet this need. Instead, a secure woman, to be honest, can hold herself in that. She can take care of herself and also regulate herself through it. So it's not that when you become securely attached, you never feel those things necessarily. Maybe something like that wouldn't be activating, but more intense things can still be triggering. It's how you move through what you're noticing in yourself and how you take responsibility for what's happening inside your internal world. And learning this truth. This sword of discernment is sometimes what I say, this tool of discernment to decide when is it for me and when is it for them, when is it for a conversation and when is it my job. So sometimes it's the interpretation of the behavior or the story that we tell about the behavior that makes things feel way more intense than they are. So let's end this video with some ideas of what you can do instead when there's a part of you that just wants to text him or reach out or cause a conflict to get attention or whatever that urge is, and what you need to do to feel better. So I will say that texting a friend is a great idea, and it's not going to feel as good as getting a text from him. That's okay. It's just not going to give you that same level of dopamine as if he were to text you back. But what it does do is it allows you to meet some of the needs that you're trying to get met, which is probably feeling in connection, feeling cared for. So texting or calling a friend is really good. Going for a walk is really good. Watching your favorite junk sort of TV show is also fine. Distracting yourself is actually okay as you practice self-soothing. If you want to take it one level deeper, a bit more into the personal development space, you can journal on it. This is what happened, this is how I'm feeling, and then go back to the questions that I listed before in this video. I actually have them written down here. So what is this bringing up? Is this feeling familiar? What do I actually feel in my body? What is the sensation? Is it a tightness in my chest? Is it a pit in my stomach? What are the emotions that are here? And what age does this feel like? Sometimes we can really tune into our inner world and feel, oh my gosh, yeah, my inner psyche, my inner voice really feels small. Feels like a little 5-year-old is talking. And then how do you reparent that 5-year-old? How do you treat yourself with enough grace and compassion to hold this part of you that is worried and scared and projecting? And if you are to try and tell yourself, I shouldn't be feeling this way, I'm a crazy person, I shouldn't be thinking these thoughts, it's not going to work. It's not going to work because you are reasoning with a part of your psyche that is really young. And so in August, in Becoming Her, we did a full workshop called Healing the Inner Child. If you join Becoming Her, it's a month-to-month membership. You can cancel anytime. But when you join, you get access to all my somatic practices and the last 6 months of recordings. So that inner child healing workshop is there. That would be super nurturing one for you to do right now. Takes you through some different somatic practices and creating safety in the body, which is ultimately what we're trying to do. So we can talk about when he does this, do Y, in this example, A and B, and da-da-da-da. But ultimately, if what you want to feel is just grounded and centered and mature and open and loving and be able to call in a really healthy relationship and be like who you want to be in that relationship and the loving, capable person you are, then we have to do that deeper level work. That's the somatic work and the subconscious work, and that's what we do in Becoming Her. So there's going to be a link for that in the description. Overall, I hope this video is really helpful for you. And on the end slide here, I'm going to put another YouTube video that is what to do if you're feeling anxious right now. So if this was a little more talky, a little more teaching, a little more heady, that video is going to help you actually relax in your body. So I'll see you over there. Take care. Sending you love. Mwah.